Hello.
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 Welcome to Elvis Fans Matter.
We're back.
It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood. Don't you think I'm looking good?
First of all,
I'll cut that.
we'll get a lot of comments on that and questions. First, let's thank everybody for all, because this is the first video we've done since Elvis Week. But
maybe the last after they see this.
we want to thank everybody for attending the event and for all the gifts. My gosh, I've got new chickens everywhere, even my little bitty blue here.
Yeah, but you got the cock of the walk right here.
But and also I want to ask everybody to say a prayer for our good friend Phyllis Potts.
Yeah.
She's been in the hospital for about 8 or 9 days. Got to come home and had to go back. So we've been worried about her, but we want her to know how much we love her, and everybody to get behind and pray for her.
Yeah.
And her daughter Patricia Ponder, because she's going through health issues as well, and I think she has an upcoming surgery.
She will.
So if you'll include Patricia and Doug and their family.
Yeah, all their family. And special thanks to Stephen McCarty for everything he did for us. Of course, he's like family to us anyway, but I want to tell you, I love the perfume. He loved the cologne. I love his cologne too, but I love the perfume. Thank you so much, Stephen.
Thank you, Steve.
I want to say thank you to Tara Wallace. She was at our event and had on a bracelet that I said I loved, and I got a package in the mail the other day, and it's a bracelet from her with the charms come off and snap in. I want to find out if there's a link to where she got it to order, and if it is, I'll put one in because several people asked. So I'll put a link down.
Pretty. That's pretty.
But thank you to everybody.
Yes, and also I got a package yesterday from. We got a package from Jan Hatch. I'm sure you have, if you're on Facebook, you've seen her recipes and her cooking. I could gain 10 pounds just looking at her food. On a picture of it is so good. But thank you so much, Shannon. I've already tried one of them. Get ready to do the other one pretty soon.
And now we'll get started with some Elvis stuff. Start off with one question that was asked about Elvis's will, where I put it after he gave it to me to put up. Actually, I took some tape and I taped it behind the commode. No. No,
that would have been the first place to look.
Actually, I'd rather not say where it was and all, but
it was safe.
Because you wouldn't be able to visualize it or actually know what I'm talking about, so I'd rather not answer that in that way. But he did give it to me and wanted me to read it, and all this kind of stuff. But anyway,
that reminds me of when we were going
together. Oh no,
we were going out. We were with Elvis and Linda, and we were going down the Elvis Presley Boulevard, and he had just done the will, and he told Billy, he said, I want you to read it and look at it. And Billy said, I don't even want to think about stuff like that. And he said, you need to, you're in it. And Billy said, well, I don't like that, because will to me is like, that's somebody.
Furthest thing from my mind.
Furthest thing from my mind. But he had made some changes in it and updated it and was real happy with what he had done. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But to even though you don't want to answer where, but to clarify the question, because the way it was asked was, where did Billy hide the wheel? Hide, I think, was just the word that was used, but it was not.
Hid.
It wasn't hidden from Elvis or from anybody. It was just put away in a safe place.
Right.
No.
It was not hidden.
It was hidden.
It was hidden. Okay. It was hidden.
It was hidden. I told Elvis where it was.
Well,
but he
that's
didn't
what
know.
I mean. He knew where it was.
He knew, but nobody else.
But nobody else knew. So, so technically, yes, hidden would be a correct word.
Yeah,
okay.
Would be a correct word.
Okay.
Yeah.
We just had a lot of people say hid. What do you mean hid? And I just didn't want it. I didn't want it to be construed to something that it was not. But it was hidden for him as a safety measure.
You know,
correct?
he had a lot of people come in and out.
Right.
You know, and you never
and that's
know.
a private thing. He didn't. You know.
He didn't want anybody to know, you know,
right.
where it was and all that,
right.
except for, you know, me and him. And he didn't even tell his daddy, you know.
Okay.
I think he just didn't think about it at the time. So I hid it.
Right.
It stayed there until, you know, after Elvis passed away, and they couldn't find it. So Uncle Vernon had Patsy, my other, you know, my cousin, Patsy Presley, and called me and asked me if I knew where it was. And I said, yeah. And he said, would you, you know, he said, we've looked everywhere. Would you, come out here and, you know, get it for me? And I said, yeah. So I went out there, you know, and I got it, gave it to him.
Good.
And, but nobody, you know, actually knew except for me and him. And I guess that's the way he wanted it, or otherwise, you know, he might have told somebody else. But I think he just forgot to tell his daddy. That's all I think, you know, at the time.
Yeah.
Because I know he wouldn't have hid it from him.
And two, you know, he wasn't thinking about
the executor, you know.
Right. But he wasn't thinking about having to use it anytime soon.
Well, we've gotten, and everybody, I mean, says when there's questions that are asked that, you know, you just don't feel comfortable answering, or it was a private thing between you and Elvis, they always, you know, respect that even though he's gone, you still keep private things private. But we did want to address the question because I think Daddy and Teresa on the Memphis Mafia Kid channel, they were asked, and Daddy said that was not a question for him to answer, but for Pawpaw to answer. And then the question came to us, so we do want to address it because we do check every question, but there are certain things like Daddy told you, sometimes Pawpaw's just not going to answer, and you know, we want everybody to respect that.
Yeah, even if he answered like he said, you couldn't realize where the place was without being familiar with his room and up in that area. So.
But that ought to take care of that.
Yeah.
You know.
Laney had asked Danielle's little, well, not little girl anymore, her daughter. She's growing up. She's almost
growing
a teenager.
fast.
Had asked if Elvis liked music when he was young, when he was a little boy, and yes. The answer to that is yes.
Yeah.
He did.
He's always loved music, you know, and always, you know, liked to sing, you know, and as a kid and, you know, as a teenager and all, and which brings another question to somebody asked, you know, how was he as a teenager?
Yeah.
And
you were 8 and he was 16.
That was one of the questions coming up.
Yeah. And what was the question?
That question was about the. Let's say you were 8 and he would have been 16. Yeah. What was he like around the 15, 16, 17 teenage years?
Well, he was, Elvis was kind of shy and kind of a loner, but I mean, not that he didn't. He had
friends.
Several friends, you know, that he liked and all. As a teenager, of course, I remember a couple of them because I got a chance to meet them. Is Paul Dewar, I think I'm saying his name right, and Buzzy Forbes, and if I got the names wrong, well, you know, I'm sorry, but you know, I remember them, and you know, of course, I got to see Red, I think, once during his teenage years, and
they really weren't around him as much in his teenage years as people think.
No,
you know, he went to school with him, but they weren't real close friends in school.
Excuse me.
Of course, I know that, you know, some of them, you know, that he knew played instruments, and a lot of times, you know, they would get together and, you know, and play music and sing and all, and just, you know, he just a regular teenager in most every way, you know, listened to radio, liked different music, you know, but basically back then he listened mostly to, you know, to blues and country music, you know, and but he liked, you know, a lot of different types of music. He would go to the record places, and back in they had little booths, you know, and
you could listen to
you could listen to the record before you bought it, you know, if you wanted to, and he'd go in there and, you know, listen to certain records. And I don't know if he ever bought any. I'm sure he did, you know, but Elvis was, you know, he was just like I say, just like any other, well, not like any other teenager. Naturally, you know, I saw him different, and
he was
to say that now,
yeah.
to say he was, you know, but
he was never ordinary.
But no, but you know, he pretty much, you know, liked a whole lot of things that other teenagers at that time liked. But anything else?
I do. We have several questions, and so if we don't get to your question on this video, then you know, we're gonna answer questions on quite a few of the next videos.
No, I'm not gonna answer that.
This one is: did Elvis ever have horse riding lessons? And do you know how old he was when he first got on a horse? He seemed so natural riding around Graceland on Rising Sun.
He had trainers to teach him and all that, because he could not ride what they. No. As far as I know, he had, you know, he never took horse riding lessons. I mean, you know, I think he got more familiar with horses during Love Me Tender. I mean, you know, and of course they started him out with a horse, you know, that
gentle.
Very, you don't take a chance with the stars, you know. And,
but you know, I don't know of anything that he was really afraid of to try. He would get on those horses, and I mean, it was just like, you know, I'm in control, and they knew it.
Yeah.
And when he rode, he just, you know,
and you know, he got better
as years went on. He got better.
When he bought Greystone, like I said, he bought two horses, you know, one black one and one white one, and there's, you know, pictures of Elvis with his, you know, his
was that his horse that Fair and Young gave him the saddle
and bridle and
silver
chest plate, and there's a picture of him on him, and you know, even back in he could ride fairly well, you know, and got better as, you know, as it went along, like we all did, you know. Either you got better or you got off, you know. I never knew a horse that couldn't be thrown. I used to I never knew a rider that couldn't be thrown. Okay. I used to throw horses all the time. Boy.
He just got me he got me a Tennessee Walker, so I naturally looked like I really thought I looked good.
Boy, she about broke my back most of the time. No, he Traveler. He was
Traveler. A Tennessee Walker will make you, if you don't know how to ride.
If you don't know how to ride, they'll make you look
good.
Boy, that's for sure. Yeah.
And you know, it's funny, but after we moved, and Elvis sold the ranch, and we all had to get rid of our horses. I found out later that Alicia Kerwin owned that horse too. She owned
Same
Traveler,
horse, yeah.
the same horse, and that was a big coincidence. But he was a great horse.
When I got Mohawk, we were getting ready to ride, so a horse will, I mean, they're smarter than what you think they are, boy. But anyway, they'll blow up. In other
So
words,
you can't get the saddle.
they'll take a deep breath, and you know, and when you put the saddle on them and gird them up and all that, you know, then they'll let out and the saddle's loose, you know. And so I saddled Mohawk up, and when I climbed up on him, I guess, you know, that's what he had done, because the saddle got real loose, and the more I ride, the more I went to the sideways, and, you know, Elvis, he was laughing, but he hollered, hang on to it. Well, I hung on as long as I could, and finally the saddle just come on over, and I hit the ground like a wet chalk, you know, and boy, he died laughing. He couldn't help it, you know.
That horse was crazy.
No, but you know, they would do that, so you had to watch them, you know. But it was funny to him. It wasn't real funny to me.
Mohawk also, he was a Appaloosa stud, and he was had these crazy looking eyes to me, and he would, when you rode him, he would ride with his head way up.
Yeah.
And
which is really bad for a horse.
Yeah.
You know,
you have to put a tie down on him.
Yeah.
So Billy was riding him one day. Everybody was riding, and he actually ran into a tree.
Yeah.
Knocked Billy off.
Knocked the breath out of him.
Yeah.
Boy, I kept saying, "You all right? You all right?" I couldn't say nothing because I couldn't breathe. You know, but
he actually, Elvis had bought him actually for himself, and he was not a real great old big horse. And Billy told Elvis, he said, you know, he said, I don't want to hurt your feelings or make you feel bad or anything, but he said, you look kind of funny sitting up on that little horse. And Elvis said, okay. He said, you've been watching this horse, and I know you wanted it. And Billy had loved Mohawk, and he said, so I'm gonna give you this little horse for a
little man.
So he did. He got then he bought Sun and Bear, Thundercloud,
yeah.
And what was the other? Ebony. Yeah. We all had horses.
He had 2 or 3 beautiful horses. You know,
he did.
Of course, you know, Ebony and Bear, they were, you know, the walking type, and boy, you know, they, of course, Elvis could ride pretty darn good, but you know, that made him look even better, because he knew, you know, the gaits that they went through. That's what they call what a horse.
Yeah. What was the one that your Uncle Vernon had?
Midnight.
Mm-hmm. That he actually was mine at first.
Yeah.
And I traded him because he was a little high spirited. I traded him for Traveler.
Those were fun days for horses.
We had a blast.
We had a lot of fun riding them and all. All righty, Miss Danielle.
All right. What was y'all's favorite activity to do with Elvis? Which, I mean, it sounds like horseback riding was fun.
It was.
But what would be, if you could just pick one thing, what?
Activity or just to do? I love just sitting up in his room and talking.
I mean, anything,
you know,
I guess.
Like that. But it'd have to be motorcycles.
Motorcycles.
Love those motorcycles.
Motorcycles. Yeah. Well, we went through phases, you know, horses and motorcycles, fairgrounds, my gosh, you know.
Slot car. There was never a dull,
a
dull minute. We did everything.
But the what she was talking about, you know, it's like, you know, the personal things, like being in this room and talking with him. And
just acting silly.
And I think everybody, you know, they cherish those moments.
More than
anything else, you know. All the guys, you know, they had their times with Elvis. You know,
everybody that had any time with him at all was, you know, lucky, and blessed, and you know they that was special to them, just like it was for us.
Okay. We have a follower that says she's been doing a lot of research on the Buddy Holly plane crash. Mm-hmm. And she said, how did that affect Elvis, and how did that affect y'all?
Well, when that happened, I don't know how to Elvis, how he reacted, because he was in Germany.
Okay.
And I wasn't around, but I know he mentioned it a couple times and all, and he's saying just that the weather was bad, and golly, you don't never know, and but I took it hard, because I liked Buddy Holly and the Big Bopper and Richie Valens. I liked all of them, and it was a very, very sad time, because that was the music we were growing up with. Mm-hmm. And of course Elvis was just to me just on another planet. I mean he just listened to his records constantly, but liked a lot of Buddy Holly's records and Richie Valens. They were great musicians and singers.
All right.
All righty.
How did Elvis get started on Spring Valley Water? Was it?
Well, he was in Colorado,
okay,
and he fell into into a spring.
Oh, hail!
I knew it'll be a good one.
Actually, I don't know. Somebody, I guess
he always.
I think somebody else, actor that he knew or something,
probably,
and introduced him to it. To be honest with you, I can't really answer it, because I don't really remember how he got started.
I know that he always had a big glass milk jug.
Yeah. Then they were glass.
Yeah, then they were glass. It was like a gallon jug, milk jug, glass. And I don't care if we were going to the movie or we were going to the furniture shopping, if we were going car shopping or whatever, he carried that jug of water with him everywhere we went. And to the movies, he'd set it on that tray and have that big jug of water sitting there.
I always kept a jug of water.
He drank water
on his nightstand, right by his bed, constantly.
He drank water more than anything. Mm-hmm. Just constantly drank water. I can just see him with that.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Says, would Billy shed some light on Larry Geller and his relationship with Elvis? Was he Elvis's hairdresser, and for how long?
Well, golly, I guess Larry came around, let me see, I want to say late 63. I might be a little off. Larry could answer that better than I could. And he was Elvis's hairdresser after Salvatore Ophis. He's the original one. But, I think he referred Larry to Elvis, and they got along good, and of course Elvis got into the spiritual
books,
things that Larry studied and read, self-realization and all, and he got into it. But and him and Larry got along real good, and they like talking about certain things like that, and we did a lot of times. I enjoyed it too, to be able to find out new things, you know, about different religions and stuff like that. But
Well, Elvis
but
was
like
open-minded
him,
about everything like that.
but like, you know, just like Elvis and all that, I stayed with my, you know, what I believed.
And Elvis did too.
And, you know, God and Jesus Christ, you know, and all that. And, you know, and Elvis did too. He never got away from his upbringing, his religion and his upbringing and all.
Larry was still with him, in contact with him to the end. He didn't always travel on every tour.
No, he didn't. He would come in at different times. You know, Elvis be on tour. He might come in, you know, for a few days, or you know, he might even stay for a whole tour. But that was not every tour. That was just, you know, once in a while.
You know, sometimes
Pat
Perry did his hair too.
Yeah.
And also, there was two girls in Memphis, Aurelia. I can't think of her last. Aurelia and Shelley.
Yeah.
That lived right over close to Vernon in that subdivision, and they would come over and do his hair, cut it, and.
I am trying to think of his name, and I can't right off. But he had a gentleman here in Memphis that, you know, did his hair, cut his hair, and all. God, I ought to have my head examined, you know, because, I can't remember his name, and he was, you know, I knew him real well, and it's a shame, you know, I guess you get older, you know. I know his name, but like I said, I beg your pardon. But anyway.
Well, you know, I mean,
I'm bad with names. I don't forget faces, but
I will forget a name.
I will too, because
I don't forget it. It just don't come to me right then.
Well, we know so many people and have met so many people over the years, but I don't ever forget their face. I never do. I can see somebody's face at an event or something, and I know them right away.
Yeah.
It's just always something about them that you
that makes
connect with. Yeah. Connect with.
I think we'll do one or two more quick questions, because there are several that are a little more lengthy answers that would be better suited for next videos. But one that we do have is, did Billy hang out much with Gene Smith, and was he a good guy? Now, Gene's your first cousin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He is, yeah. We hung out some, mostly around Elvis. Gene was more Elvis's age, and Gene and Elvis were really close. They,
for a lot of years.
For a lot of years, yeah. Well, like I say, coming up, they were. Gene was just a little older than Elvis, and so actually, Gene is really the first one that actually started to travel in with Elvis, and
his
Junior
brother.
and his brother Junior, and of course Red, and later Arthur Hooten, gosh, I remember him and all that.
I remember Arthur Hooten.
But
and Cliff.
Who are Gene and Junior's mom and daddy? There are so many, I can't remember.
Lavelle.
Yeah, and Lavelle was Gladys's sister, and her name was Smith.
Yeah.
Her maiden name was Smith,
And
but she married Ed Smith, so her name stayed Smith.
Okay, that's how Gene and Junior were
Right.
Smith. Okay,
Right.
but they were technically like Gladys and Travis, Paul Smith's sister.
Cousin,
okay, I got you. So she was a Smith, and then she married a Smith.
Smith.
Okay, and that was always my confusion on how Gene and Junior were still a Smith. But I see now what you're saying.
That's all that, intertwined so much.
There were just so many.
Me most of the time.
So many of the siblings and stuff that I would like
that's what that was.
I would like to write down every.
But
everybody.
Gene and Elvis, like I say, they got even as teenagers, and even as kids.
Yeah, you can
people
see
know.
pictures of them at the
Well, if he was-
fairgrounds. You know,
Oh
where
yeah,
they
gosh, even
posed that picture.
If he was older than Elvis, then he was that much more old because Elvis was 8 years older than you.
Yeah,
So
but he
yeah,
was
there was
just a few months.
But I mean,
older.
that's
but
what
it's
I'm
only, yeah,
saying.
he
That's
was,
still
yeah.
that's a big age,
But
Yeah.
different age gap.
As far as hanging out, no, we didn't hang out because he
we
don't
did
hang out with
later
little
years. You
kids,
did with Louise and Jean. They used to
Yeah.
come over and
come over
to your
right,
mom and daddy's and play cards for
play
like a
cards
whole
and stuff.
weekend.
Yeah,
They'd get in trouble sometimes because they didn't show up
Yeah.
at work. Where they, they would play poker and they'd
All
get
weekend?
all wrapped up in the game and
I miss her.
rook and all kind
yeah,
of stuff.
all kind of stuff.
Let's see. All right, here is. We'll take this one as the last question on this one, and then kind of give y'all an idea of what kind of questions will be coming up in our future videos in the next few weeks. But here is one, and I mean, you may or may not want to answer it. You've had the question before about Jesse, and if you knew if he was still in Tupelo or if he was at Graceland, and that was a question Papa just chose to decline to answer. But the question on this one is, did Elvis ever try to locate Jesse's grave? Like growing up, once he was moved.
They knew
He
where it was.
didn't have to locate it. They knew
They
where
knew
it was.
where it was.
I mean,
Okay.
it ain't.
So I mean, he knew
That's him,
growing
yeah,
up.
sure.
His mom and daddy didn't keep it from him. I
No,
guess is
no.
what maybe had been
No.
insinuated
They
from that.
they knew.
They knew, and
They-
he knew.
they
And
Okay.
in
made
fact,
more-
I'm sure they went to to
So probably to see
it.
what-
Yeah.
the public and a lot of people have made more of that than it
Like
really
it's this
was.
mysterious thing.
Like
I mean,
it's-
but he wasn't just they moved to Memphis and he was forgotten and Elvis
No.
hit fame.
No,
I mean, it was
no.
that was their
But-
child, and he
but
was
it was
there.
like he was born first. Jesse was.
Gotcha. Okay.
And he was stillborn, and Elvis never knew him, and of course I'm sure they always Gladys did. Always thought of him and thought, what.
yeah.
But they didn't talk about that all
No.
the time or make it like
Well,
it was
I mean,
a
I'm
big
sure
sad
that's a
thing.
very- That's a very personal and very sad and personal and depressing
Yeah,
thing to think about. I mean, you didn't get a chance to know your child. You carried them all that time, and they were not born alive. But I mean, it wasn't a big mystery thing
No.
for him. So
No.
he didn't have to search it out. And
he
find
didn't
it.
have a hang up about Jesse being born
Right.
dead. He didn't have a hang up about it
No,
or
I mean, you're sure
anything because he never knew him.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sure he was at some point curious.
I'm sure he-
Anybody would
Oh
be,
yeah,
but
he
it wasn't
about it. Even once in a
wasn't-
while he would talk about it, but
right.
not very
But he
much.
wasn't
Not
just
that
down
much.
and depressed about it
No,
at all the time.
no,
I mean,
no.
he didn't.
I mean,
grow up.
when you're alone, you think about a lot of things,
Yeah.
and I'm sure when Elvis was alone, he might even had certain feelings, about a twin,
Right.
But as far as being down, depressed about it, or thinking about it all the time, that just wasn't the way he
Gotcha.
was.
No.
Okay.
But
I think with this one, we can wrap it up. Now, we have some future questions coming up that they're wanting stories about toilet shooting.
toilet shooting.
Yes, early.
Oh golly, boy.
Early years about when you first started working for Elvis.
That is so nasty. Toilet shooting.
We have questions
You
about.
talk about with a gun, I hope.
I hope, yes. Asking questions about, let's see, about Dr. Nick, about Elvis's funeral, like I say, toilet shooting, all kinds of stuff. So we've got
Is
some
that
good
kind of
ones.
like shooting the shit? I mean,
Yeah.
shooting.
Sometimes.
Danielle says it like we say it Southern. Shooting.
I mean, shooting.
Shooting. Toilet shooting.
Shooting. Yes,
Shooting.
excuse me. But
Toilet
I'm,
shooting. I mean,
I'm born
if
and
I
raised
can't
in
catch it.
yeah, in North Mississippi, so
Denise,
it's fixing and doing and shooting and
Yeah, you just have
that's
to
it.
realize that, we
and thinking.
something and we just never got
We don't put the G on
way.
anything.
No.
We just put the I in.
No.
That's it.
Shooting.
But one thing coming up, and I mean, if it's changed, forgive me because I haven't looked. But Dakota fight still on for November the 4th. Dakota the Dream Smith, he's back in the ring fighting his professional fights.
He's been training.
MMA, he's training. So if you have any questions on tickets or on t-shirts or any type of sponsorships, reach out to Dakota or to Joey on Facebook.
Yeah.
Dakota's just listed as Dakota Smith. If you can look him up, or Joey Micah Smith, reach out to Joey or Dakota for anything. He is looking for sponsors and t-shirt sales and ticket sales.
And while we're talking about that, I want to mention that you might want to follow Joey Smith and Ruth Ann Smith. They got a
Goat farm.
they got this Burning Oak Ranch, goat ranch now. Burning Oaks Goat Ranch.
I believe on Facebook they have it as Burning Oaks Goats.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if you can't search it by that page, you should be able to reach out to Joey or Ruth Ann and message them, and they can get you the link to their page so you can follow that.
Eventually, they'll
have products to that they're making. It's going really good.
Products and all. It's going real good.
They have a lot of registered, nice, beautiful goats.
I got.
I didn't realize they had that many. We saw them on down the road.
This time
we were coming up. I guess that's some of their goats.
I think this time next year, he said it should double because he's got a lot of ones that'll be having babies in the spring. So
and they're a lot of fun to watch.
I love them. They are funny.
He's got one big goat. Well, two now. Two big billies. One is Harry
Rex.
And what's the other one?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I didn't know that they had
another
another one.
Is I can't remember, but he looks like he's a cow.
Yeah,
he's huge.
He's even bigger than
I never
Harry
knew
Rex.
goats were ever got that big, but they have some really, really nice looking ones. They've gone all over the place.
Yeah.
Traveled all over.
Getting them
to get them and bring them back here. So they've got a good place here.
Well, they're starting their page up, so go on there. It is a public page that you can follow. So like and follow their page, and you can get updates from them as they update on how their goat ranch is going and when they're going to start having the products.
Might even film a little bit of us raising the barn area for them to keep them in.
They're going to build a big barn for them.
Go build a big barn.
When are y'all going to start that project?
Huh?
When do you think you'll start
probably,
that? Before winter?
Probably going to get on it pretty soon. Within the next month, I think. But with that, let's all remember, to us,
Elvis fans matter.
Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thanks for watching.